The world's largest dam is being built on an active fault line. Chinese geologists say the fracture runs directly through the reservoir and has been moving since the Ice Age. The river downstream becomes the Brahmaputra, the lifeline for hundreds of millions in India and Bangladesh. The scientists did not say stop, they say reinforce. And now, China's energy future lies in danger by a geological warning from beneath the concrete. Chinese geologists have warned that an active fault line beneath the world's largest hydropower project could threaten the long-term safety of the massive dam under construction on Tibet's Yarlung Tsangpo River. The warning comes in a newly published scientific study supervised by the China Geological Survey, which says the Paizhen Fault runs directly through the project's reservoir area and could affect dams, tunnels, bridges, and other critical infrastructure. The researchers found that the fault has remained active since the Pleistocene Ice Age and continues to show geological activity into the present Holocene epoch. They said fractured rock, unstable slopes, and weak soil conditions significantly increase the risk of landslides, collapses, and earthquake-related damage. Construction on the megaproject began last year on the Tibetan plateau. Once completed, the dam is expected to generate around 300 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity annually, roughly 3 times the output of China's Three Gorges Dam, making it the largest hydropower project ever built. The Yarlung Tsangpo flows downstream into India as the Brahmaputra River before reaching Bangladesh, prompting long-standing concerns in both countries over water security and environmental impacts. The scientific team said the region sits within one of the most seismically active zones in the Himalayas, where the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates continue to collide.
The Paizhen Fault, which has been highly active since the Pleistocene, will have a major impact on the structural stability and construction of nearby structures, including dams, roads, bridges, and tunnels, as well as the reservoir area.
The researchers noted that the area's loose geological structure and weakened rock formations make surrounding slopes especially vulnerable after prolonged water exposure. They warned that earthquakes or continued fault movement could trigger major landslides capable of threatening both workers and infrastructure.
Under regional seismic action, landslides and collapses can easily be induced, threatening the safety of engineering facilities and personnel. During construction, structural stability safeguards must be strengthened. Implementing strategies such as slope reinforcement and retaining barriers is essential to mitigate the risks of landslides and collapse.
The study also points to the Milin earthquake of magnitude 6.9 in 2017, which struck near the northern end of the Paizhen Fault, as evidence that the fault remains capable of producing significant seismic activity. Despite the warning, the scientists did not call for construction to stop. Instead, they urged engineers to reinforce slopes, strengthen retaining structures, and incorporate additional geological safeguards to reduce long-term risks. The findings are likely to intensify international scrutiny of the strategically significant project, which has already drawn concern from India and Bangladesh over its potential impact on downstream water flows and regional environmental security.
I mean, we would expect typhoons in July in the Western Pacific. It's the typhoon season. But what makes it stand out is the speed of the intensification. So it was identified as a depression, it was identified as a storm, it was maintaining a low category status, and then it rapidly intensified within a couple of days to a Cat 5. And that is something that we've observed with climate change. And the implications of that is that a community has very little warning. The problem with these events is that they're just increasing. The magnitude of the event is getting more and more worse, and the frequency, because they occur on a baseline of climate change, means they're occurring more frequently. So you have this problem with resilience. You know, if you're affected by a once in 500 year event once every 500 years, you can recover. But these magnitude of events are just occurring more and more frequently, and we just don't have the time to recover and become resilient. Many of the rice fields are located near the coastline. If you get a storm surge, it's going to bring seawater in it, so you get saltwater intrusion, which can significantly, for a very, very long term, destroy the ability of rice production in the region. What does that lead to? Well, if you've got all these problems, it's higher food prices, and we're already suffering a standard of living crisis to do with the energy sector. You know, this is what we're worried about, that these are called so-called compound hazards. We had an energy crisis, and now will we have a food crisis on top of that? If you want to ask me what's going to happen next year, or what's going to happen later this year, there's going to be another Cat 5 and another and another, and they're going to increase in frequency, and they're going to have rapid intensification, and they're going to have a large area. They're going to deposit unprecedented amounts of rainfall. We're going to have landslides. We're going to have flooding. We're going to destroy our crops. Urban areas are going to be flooded. We're going to lose lives. And this is just going to repeat and repeat and repeat until eventually, at some point, peoples whose job is to look after their community talk to scientists and say, what should we do?